In a previous video, we talked about an ethical dilemma. In another video, we also talked about the moral argument for the existence of a God. This idea that if right and wrong do exist, then it implies that we have a purpose, right? Because if we go against the purpose, it would be wrong. If we follow the purpose, it would be right. So the existence of right and wrong implies there's a purpose, and a purpose implies that there is design, a creator who designed us and gave us that purpose. So as Christians, of course, we look to the Bible to figure out what exactly that purpose is for our lives, but the Bible doesn't address everything, right? The Bible doesn't tell us every single decision that we're going to make in this life. So how do we make these decisions? How do we make ethical decisions during such as ethical dilemmas, as was mentioned in a previous video, where you're faced with a situation, there's 5 children on a train track, and there's a train coming. Which one do you save? You have the power to pull the lever, which would turn the train and go off the tracks, in which it would go off of a cliff and kill anybody on the train, or you can leave the lever and then the train, of course, would run over the children. Which one do you decide? Obviously, this is an ethical dilemma. How does the Bible address these types of things? Now, philosophers have come up, or ethics philosophers have come up with these different ideas. One is called consequentialism, and we mentioned it in that video. It's just this idea of doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what the means are, as long as the end justifies the means are fine, right? So, for example, lying. We know that lying is wrong. The Bible tells us that lying is wrong. But have you ever lied to someone trying to surprise them, right? Maybe there's a birthday party and you tell them, yeah, no, sorry, we didn't do anything for you this year. I've got to go shopping later. Maybe we can hang out afterwards. And they're thinking they're a little bummed, but they go home, and when they get home, and there you are having a surprise birthday party for them. So you can say, well, I lied to them, which is wrong, but I lied to them for the right reasons, right? I did the wrong thing for the right reasons because I was trying to bring a better result, which was their happiness later by surprising them. So this is the concept of consequentialism, doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. And if it turns out in the end that it's right, then it doesn't matter that you did wrong as long as it turns out right in the end, and more right than what you did wrong. Now, this is similar to what is called utilitarianism. Utilitarianism also seeks to say that you can do what's wrong for the right reasons, but only if it's supposed to be so that it benefits the most amount of people, right? It's supposed to produce a good result. So, for example, you may be faced with a situation where you're trying to figure out, do I fire so-and-so and bump up the paychecks of everyone else so that they can have happier lives? Or do I keep him on and then everyone lives kind of like medium lifestyles, right? They live middle-class lifestyles. So the utilitarian will say, well, try and weigh your options. Does firing this one person benefit everyone else? If so, then maybe the good of everyone else outweighs the good of the one person. So that's kind of the utilitarian concept. So is this right? Well, the Bible does talk about some types of situations where people use consequentialism or utilitarianism. For example, we can see that Jesus died for the good of everyone else, right? The suffering and pain that Jesus went through was for the sake of everyone else. But at the same time, we have to remember, Jesus was a willing sacrifice. God did not take him and force him into it. Jesus willingly obeyed. He said, I can send legions of angels to come save me if I wanted to, but this is why I'm here, right? I came to die for the sins of the world. So Jesus, of course, did that willingly. So it's kind of different than utilitarianism. One would say, like, the government, for example, can punish one person or do something to one person for the sake of everyone else. But in the case of Jesus, of course, he willingly chose to sacrifice himself for the good of everyone else. So there's some concepts of utilitarianism there, if you want to call it that. Consequentialism, we can look at the idea of Rahab, for example. Rahab, she was hiding the 2 spies from Israel while she was living in Jericho, and the men of the city, they came to her and said, hey, where did the 2 spies go? And she lied and said, no, they left already. And because they went searching out for the spies were able to escape after they had gone. So her lying saved their life, so she could say, yes, I lied, but I saved them, so therefore it must be justified. The problem with consequentialism, though, is that we don't really know what the end result is going to be. right? So consequentialism as well as utilitarianism, it focuses on this idea of, well, I'm going to do what's wrong because I predict that it's going to lead to a good result, but we don't know if it's going to lead to a good result. So for example, let's say Rahab lied and said, no, the spies are gone. And then they said, actually, we know they're here because I just saw one of them peek their head out. So because you lied to us, we're going to kill you, we're going to kill your family, and we're going to kill the spies, right? Terrible consequences. But she predicted, well, if I lie, then I'm able to let these two people free. So she predicted that that was going to happen, but what if her prediction didn't come true? So she would have lied, and worse results happened because of the lie. So we don't really know what's going to happen. Or let's say with a surprise birthday party. Let's say you lie to them and say, yeah, no, sorry, I didn't do anything for your birthday. Maybe next year. Right now I'm a little busy. And then instead of going home, they decide they're bummed out and they just go for a drive and they're all depressed and sad and they never even come to your surprise birthday party because of that. So you made a prediction and said this is what's going to happen, but then it didn't happen. So you did the wrong thing. You lied, and it was for a good reason, but that good reason never came to pass. So with consequentialism, a huge issue with it is this idea that we can tell the future when we cannot. So the deontologists, of course, which we'll talk in a different video, would say, don't do the wrong thing. You don't know what the future is. So what do you think? Do you think consequentialism is the best approach to making ethical decisions? Or do you think that there's a better way out there? Maybe you think deontology is the better approach, or maybe virtue ethics, or maybe utilitarianism, maybe one that I didn't even mention. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comments section about why you like consequentialism or why you don't like consequentialism. What are the pros and cons? And again, what do you think is a better approach if there is one? Then of course, if you want to subscribe, that will make it a little easier for you to see our videos when we produce them. It's free to subscribe, of course, and you can always stop later if you wanted to. But of course, it's just an easier way for you to see these types of videos. And if you like the video, go ahead and give it a like if you want. But yeah, hopefully you guys have a great day.